Okay, we're gonna try that again here. This is take two of today. For some reason, Facebook is freaking out right now, and I have no idea what's going on. Maybe it's another Facebook apocalypse. I don't know if you guys remember that like 6 weeks ago, but everything went to crap on Facebook for a little while there, and it went down. Anyways, I don't know if you guys can see me. If you get video status change from Facebook from previous Facebook live service received a video signal. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Whatever. Hey, we're going to dive into this, okay? I have a cool story for you guys today, and I'm really excited to tell it, honestly. And this goes back to, around the time, like I was telling you. First of all, if you guys could hear me or see me, please tell me, because something's up with Facebook right now. I was pushing live, and, like, everyone was getting an error message. I reloaded my computer. Like, it's not on my side, is what I'm saying. Like, it's very frustrating, actually. So let me know if you can see it. Let me know if you can hear it. Let me know if that you're live with me. Let me know that you're... Anyway. I chopped after a while, because pretty much every single comment was saying, I can't see you, I can't hear you, what's going on, it's only an error message. So I stopped the video. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this, and I am recording my screen in case something else goes to crap. Then I'll be able to go and at least just put it back on the group here if something really just janky happens with this. So anyway, I am excited to tell you this story though. Hey, this whole thing happened for me back in the time, like, we were in college, and life was hard. I'm not gonna lie. Like, life was really challenging. We were broke. I had already gone through the experience of asking my dad for money, and we were in this scenario where, like, we were making it barely, right? We were making it, but it was really hard. Okay, it was rough. And the reason it was so hard is because everything that I would try, like, it just seemed to fail, right? Everything seemed to fail. And they were honest attempts. I wasn't being a pansy. It wasn't like just kind of trying things here and there. Like, I was going full in on every business attempt that I was going for. And I did a recount recently, and I found out that it was way more than 17 tries that I actually went through to actually make one of these work. And anyway, this was around business try number 12. Okay, and around business try number, it was like 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It was right around that time. Okay. Right around the turn of the baker's dozen, right before that, my wife and I were on this date, and we were so poor, and not just like monetarily poor, but I can tell you that at that time I was mentally poor. I did not think highly of myself. I was struggling. I was like, if I am so awesome, like everyone says, why is it that I mean, not everyone, but you know what I mean? Like, if you're, no, you're awesome, you're doing great, and I'm like, then why am I broke? Why am I broke? And it became this thing that I was just like hitting myself over the shoulders with, like, why am I still broke? And I had to be careful of myself, because I would kind of beat myself down. And I'm saying that because you might be able to relate with this as I tell you this. So anyways, this is around business try 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere around there. My wife and I, we're on this date. We're on this dollar menu date to McDonald's, and it's because it's all we could afford. So we're each taking $1, and we're getting our dollar menu thing just so we can spend time together. And life's hard, and things are challenging, and we are literally racing the clock on how long we can live without going broke and dying. It's like, it sucked. And she started asking me the question. And it's the question that all of us entrepreneurs have always gotten. And it's okay. And it's natural that you get it. And it's natural that they ask it. And so I don't judge anyone for asking me this question. In fact, I actually totally get it. And it makes complete sense to me why someone would ask this question. And she looks at me and she's like, hey, I'm excited. I'm telling her the next business idea, and she looks at me and she's like, hey, is this the one? Like, is this the one that's going to work? What does that do to you? Rips you up, right? Right? On the outside, I was fronting, right? On the outside, I was like, yeah, babe. Ain't nothing but a thing. I got you, right? This is totally gonna work. This is gonna work. It's gonna be awesome. I'm so excited about it, right? This is just think about this. Like, the next big question we're gonna have to answer is, what island will we buy? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I got you. I am your man, right? And I was trying to be tough on the outside, but on the inside, I was freaking out. I did not know if it was going to be the one that would work. I didn't understand if it was the one that was going to actually be. I just didn't know. And you likely have gone through something like that in the past, and it sucks. And it's one of the most painful things ever. And loved ones start asking you that, family, friends, and you start asking you that. I mean, there's so much noise on this. That's why I have so much affinity and empathy. I don't have sympathy, but I have empathy, lots of it. I'll feel with you because I've been there, right? And I don't feel for you, though. I'm not feeling sorry for anybody. Don't feel sorry for yourself, but I feel for you because it's just hard. And a lot of people ask that question, is this the one that's going to work? Well, I started beating myself up a little bit more. And I was like, man, I don't know if this is it. Like, hopefully this is it. And I shouldn't know if it was going to be the one. And in my mind, it all made sense. Yeah, I'll just do that. And I'll do this. I'll do that. And I started playing that game where it's like, if 1% of the 1% of the 1% buy, we're rich, right? And you start playing the whole, I only need this percentage of the market game, which is like such a dumb game. And anyway, I was walking out of one of my classes. This was like a few days later. I was walking out of one of my classes, and it was rainy. It was rainy out, and everything was challenging. Okay, it was rainy out, and it was like a scene from Hollywood. I'm walking down, and I walked pretty fast because I was by that time I'd already gone through some military stuff, and I was starting to become an officer. And like anyway, I walk fast. I walk fast anyway, but I walk fast, and I'm walking out of my class, walking fast. And it's rainy out, and I was like, ugh, like everything kind of sucked, and I'm like getting kind of down on myself. And this scene unfolds in front of me. And as I'm walking down this sidewalk and I start leaving campus and I'm walking, I was going back home, I look out on this, I look out and I see down the road a little while, there's this kind of one of those like bus stop awnings. It wasn't a bus stop, but there was a bench and it had a cover over it. And there was a guy sitting in there. Okay, there's this guy sitting right there on the bench, and it was a ways off, right? It was a ways off, but I could see that was all right, and I noticed it. And I'm still walking fast, and I'm still walking fast, and I'm still walking fast, and I'm going. And as I'm walking, I start seeing, oh my gosh, the rain is starting to part, kind of cliche-ly, over this dude. And I was like, and if you've heard this story before, please don't do the punchline for it, because I got a cool special treat for y'all, you guys here, okay? Yeah, but there's this seat, right? And the rain is starting to part right there in front of this guy. And I was in a bad mood. And I was like, oh gosh, like, there's going to be birds chirping soon, you know what I mean? Like, there's going to be rays of sunlight coming down. Anyways, I was in a bad mood. And I was walking down the street, and as I start getting a little bit closer, this really nice limo pulls up in front of the guy, and this guy, the driver gets out of the limo. He walks around the front of the limo with this unnaturally amazing posture, just like super nice posture. And he walks over to the back door for the guy, opens up the door and does this little half bow, and then looks slightly up over and smiles at the old man on the bench. And the older gentleman on the bench takes the book that he was reading, he closes it, and they exchange some words very warmly. And I'm starting to get close. And as I start getting close, it's very apparent that the guy on the bench is just wearing wealth, right? Wearing this crazy nice suit. His watch was worth way more money than I had made the previous year, right? Like, it was so apparent the dude was wealthy. And as I'm walking up, and this limo's in front of him, the gentleman stands up, he closes this book, and he starts getting in the limo. So he goes and he sits down in the limo, and as the driver goes to close the door, I'm getting a lot closer now. I'm pretty close to them. Something in me said, run. And so I ran, and I started sprinting, and I ran, and I was one of the fastest guys in my platoon, right? Like, I'm not bad at running. Well, then I wasn't. But anyway, they go to close the door, and I ran, and I put my hand in the door. And I was like, ow, right? I put my hand in the door and stopped the door from closing. And the gentleman looks up at me, and everyone's a little bit alarmed for a moment, And I think once they realized I wasn't there to like hurt them, it's like, hey, sorry, I just have a question. I can't not ask it. I have to ask it. Hey, I have been trying this business thing for a while. But I can't get it to work. It's not that I'm not trying. I'm trying. And when I say trying, I'm not just like dabbling. I am actively trying to sell. I'm on my eighth try now, and everything sucks. Why isn't it working? And I just gotta ask you, because you are clearly making it and making it well. I just need to ask you, and I'm sure everybody asks you, how are you making it? What happened? Like, what did you do? An older gentleman, like, he finally, like, everyone's nerves start calming down, and he kind of looked forward, and he bowed his head a little bit, and he started smiling, and he goes, yeah, a lot of people ask me that. I said, what are you doing? Like, what's the trick? What is there some, and he kind of held his hand up, and he goes, here's the deal. He said, if you will read this book, and it was the one that he was holding. He said, if you will read this book every day, okay, for 20 minutes, and then spend the next 40 minutes applying what you learned during that 20, do that every day for a year, and you will not recognize your life in a year. This was the book. Okay? He held up the book, and he had the book in his hand, closed it, handed it off to me, and that was 4 years ago. Oh! Mic drop! Okay, how cool is that? Right? And I was like, all right. So they closed the door, he handed it off to me. Anyway, closed the limo door, and then they drove off, and I've never seen that guy again. And I did exactly what he said to do. And I started reading this book 20 minutes a day, and then I would close the book and apply what I read for 40 minutes a day. I was hungry enough to just do it. I don't know why he asked me to, right? And it was amazing. And now since then, that was a life-changing experience for me. I've been in contact with the author, Michael Porter. Okay? I've been in contact with the author, and he and I've told him the story. And he's like, wow, that's amazing. So we have a really cool gift for you guys here, because I've kind of become friends with Michael Porter. Okay? And what's powerful with this is, like, anyway, we got a cool offer. Okay, I want to give you guys, if it's okay with you, let me get it out here. I'm still waking up. If it's okay with you, I'd like to be able to go and give you guys this book. So how many guys have already bought it on Amazon? As I've held it up, because that's usually when people buy it. Okay, don't do that. All right. I want to give you this book. We've got a really cool thing for you guys. The first thing we're going to give you guys is I'm actually going to give you this book, right? And because, like, why not, right? Read it for 20 minutes, apply what it said for 40 minutes after that. I'm really psyched to give you guys this book. It's going to be really, really cool, right? Next, though, we want to give you guys, because one of the issues that I have is that I just read really slow. I have a ton of books. I have a stack of books next to my knee. It's as high as my knee sitting down right now. It's huge. Okay. And then 4 more bookshelves worth. There's books all over the place. I have books all over the place, but I'm not a fast reader. That's not why I have them. Anyway. And so I don't want you guys getting stuck in the details. If you're like me and you need to hear it, what I did is I went and I created an audio book. So we'll give you the physical book. We're also going to give you guys the audio book as well. Okay. How cool is that? Super awesome, right? Yeah. Super cool. Okay. Anyway, so we have you guys the actual physical book. We have the audio book for you guys as well. And then I have a really hard time whenever I'm reading, like with the .com Secrets book. I have a very interesting method of marking my notes. If it's something that's like super crazy, like mind-blowing, I always fold the bottom corner up, and there's tons of those in this book, right? I almost fold it every page. Anyway, I don't want you to miss the main bullet points. So what I did is I had, if you're like, man, where was that thing? I actually had my team go through, and one of my writers went through and created bullet point outline of every chapter. So if you're like, hey, I don't remember where that thing was, or hey, I just want to get the bullet points, or hey, where was that? Okay, you're like, oh, sweet. Okay, so I'm really excited because we're going to give you the book, we'll give you the audiobook, and also the bullet point outline. And then finally, one of the things I don't want you guys to get stuck on is like, what was Steven seeing in here that caused all this amazing stuff. I don't want to miss those pieces. So what I did is I wrote a little commentary on each chapter from the biggest takeaways that I got. So you guys get, does that make sense? Super cool, right? So we're going to send you, so wait for just a moment. We're going to give you guys the link on where to go grab it. It's free. Okay. We're going to give you guys the book. It'll be the audiobook. Okay. The book, the audiobook, the bullet point outline, as well as my takeaways on each chapter so that you know how to apply each one of the things to everything you're learning here. Sweet, right? Super cool. All right. So, that being said, super exciting, but that being said, there's one other thing with this. There is no other way. Like, I love live events, right? They help you like crazy. Live events are amazing. They change your life. You guys still have errors on loading and stuff like that? Hopefully not. Oh, some of you guys can see. Okay, well, I'm recording it, so I'll toss the video back on here. But anyways, what we also wanted to do, though, is we actually, Michael Porter and I, we have this sweet event that we're going to do where the first 50 of you guys, we're actually going to go to his house. 50 is how much we can fit like in his living room, okay? So the first 50 of you guys, what we're going to do is we're actually going to go and the first 50 of you guys go, it's free, but the first 50 of you guys go get this book. We're going to give you guys a ticket to come hang out for 2 days with Michael and I, and it's in 6 months from now. So 6 months from now, the reason why is because we want you to read this and apply it and study it and do exactly the 2040 thing that really helped me, okay? Anyway, so I'm super psyched about that. Okay, does that make sense? So only the first 50 of you guys. There are 6,000 of you in this challenge. You understand what I'm telling you? 6,100 of you in this challenge. Okay, so we're going to give you the book, the audiobook, the bullet point outline, my commentary on each chapter, plus the first 50 of you guys are going to get, only the 50 guys are going to get a very closed, it's not recorded, exclusive event with Michael and I so we can help you guys practice and apply this book to yourself. Okay, it'll be 6 months from now, that event in his actual living room. Sound good? All right. Let's go ahead and drop let's go and drop the link. Shane? Oh! What's happening right now? Hey, I've never read that book. This is usually when people start swearing at me. That's all made up. Oh, snap! Ouchie! That's all made up. Anyone ticked? Alright, the story's made up. There was no guy. There was no... Let's bask in the awkward for a moment. There was a moment... Everyone confused? What are you guys feeling right now? Anyone mad? Okay, I'm not trying to be a jerk right now when I do this, but it's to illustrate a point. Okay? Why do you want the book? I've never read this book. It's a random one off my shelf I haven't read yet. How many? I've never read this book. Anyone? Minus all the swear words on the side. Oh my gosh. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I got so ticked off. I got so fed up with everyone saying, well, Steven, I'm in a different scenario. No, you're not! Are you selling something or do you need leads? Steven, was that the perfect webinar script? Yeah, it was. I'm not doing a webinar. It's not about a webinar. That webinar script is not about webinars. It's a sales script. Do you need leads or cash? Yes to both, probably. Or you're not in business. Okay? It doesn't matter what you're selling. It has nothing to do with the product. Did I tell you anything about the book? No. Did I tell you anything about the chapters? Did I give you an outline of what they are? Did I read the cute little quotes and sayings and the 5-star reviews on the back? No! Products don't sell themselves. What sold you on the book? What sold you on the book? The story. And was that Epiphany Bridge script? Yeah. I was just following the outline in my head. It's a made-up story. Right? I've kept the same story being it's called, everyone calls it the fake book story now, okay? I've kept it being the same story because after Russell's like, dude, you can't keep telling that same fake story. And I was like, yeah, I know, but like, understand what I'm doing. And it's like, I'll keep it the same story every time. And he's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay. But I'm so tired of people saying, I'm in a different scenario. No, you're not. Okay? No, you're not. You are not so unique in business that you get to skip human psychology. Okay? The Epiphany Bridge script is one of the most powerful sales scripts on the planet because we go through a backstory. You get affinity and rapport with me. I go through internal and external desires, causing the feeling of vulnerability and openness. Then I go and I hit a wall, and by that time you're tuned in. And the reason story is so powerful is because you are acting like the protagonist in my story, even though you didn't go through it. You're still experiencing it emotionally. Okay? This is so powerful. Now, what did I do? At what point in the fake book story do you want the book? Was it when I started telling you? What was the offer? Was it when I said, hey, you're going to get the book. You're going to get the audiobook. You're going to get the bullet point outline. You're going to get my commentary. No, it's actually before that. Isn't that fascinating? It's when I hold it up. I say, this is the book. Okay? Now, I'm lying my face off. And I've had enough people. The first time I ever did that, I did not tell ClickFunnels I was going to do it. And I was at a live event. And and it was an event for ClickFunnels. And the staff in the back was like freaking out. And they're like, what is he doing? Why is he pitching from stage? And it was just because I was so tired of people saying, well, it doesn't work for me. It's freaking hot garbage, man. You take that, and there's a really interesting solution to all that. There's actually this really interesting nerve in your elbow. I'll teach you how to fix this, okay? You lift up your hand like this, okay? Pull your hand up like this, and put your elbow out just a little bit. And it's actually an issue in your head, okay? But it's connected to your elbow right here. What you do is you put your elbow out like this, and then put your hand out a little bit. Start forming your hand this way, and then lean your head forward, and then cock the wrist back just a little bit and start going like that. That's how you fix that, okay? Because I'm so tired of people saying that. Well, Steven, I'm in e-com. Well, Steven, I'm in B2B, high-ticket sales. I'm in multi-stage, multi-million-dollar contract sales. It's all human psychology, okay? Even in those massive contracts, you're still selling someone and there's still a story, okay? You've got to learn the art of story. If there's nothing else you learn from any of this, learn to publish and learn to tell story, and money will eventually just start falling in your lap. Okay? You wanted this book when I held it up before the offer because of the story. I built up value around the book. And then when I held it up, now what parts of the story were so powerful for you? What were the parts of the story you guys liked the most? I was like asking this, but let me wait for your comments there on the side. Okay, let me. What parts of the story like? Dollar menu date night. Why? How many of you on here have actually had to go do that? So why did I put it in? Okay. The older gentleman reading the book. It's interesting because you put us in the same state. Yeah. Okay. How many guys there we go. There's the comments. Right. The reason this fake book story works so well is because I know you, and I know where you've been, and I've walked the path that you've walked, so I can go and I can cherry pick these experiences that I've had. Like, oh man, we did actually have to do a dollar menu date night one night, but the limo thing with the guy, that's all made up, all that. Why does it work so well? It's because there's power in having a guru who's unnamed come in and lace some amazingness right on top of you and then leaves, right? Then you're like, oh, right? Then it puts all the pressure puts all the light back on the teller of the story. Because now they're the reporter, basically. Anyway, right? But that's interesting. It works because I know you. Guys, if you know your customers and you know the experiences that they've gone through, right, and you know why, like, you understand how powerful that is? Story is easy to tell when you know your customer, because all you do is you tell the story that picks up. Don't lie. Gosh, don't lie. Okay? I'm telling you right now, that is the only story I tell that's a lie. It's the only story I tell that is not true. It's the only story I tell that's like completely 100% not, like, it's all made up. Okay? Everything else I tell you, it's a true story. But I do that to illustrate a purpose and a point. I was doing it at my own event once, and I was telling... this is probably the 9th time I've told the fake book story. I've told it on several stages now. It's fun to do in live audiences because you get a rise out of some people. And anyway, so I was doing it. I did it day 1 of this event. And that night, this lady went back and she could not sleep. She was so mad at me. She stayed up the whole night. And she was like... She was trying to figure out ways to get back at me. So the next day, she didn't sleep that much. And she got up and I was asking everybody, hey, what was your biggest takeaways from yesterday? Well, she stood up and she goes, you should not do that with people. You're messing with our emotions. You're messing with people. And I stopped her and I said, ma'am, I do not apologize to you. It was in front of everybody. I said, you guys understand that I just gave you one of the most powerful sales lessons ever. Right? When I was doing door-to-door sales, the reason why I went from being one of the top door-to-door salesmen to one of the worst, I mean, I was getting 2 to 3 sales a day, which for what I was selling pest control. That was not bad, right? Consistently 2 to 3 sales a day was enough to be one of the top. And then I went to 2 to 3 sales a week. Oh, and we almost went like bankrupt. Okay, the reason why is because I started focusing on the product. And I started thinking that if I understood our pest control more, right? And then later I was a telemarketer. I started thinking if I understood the software I was selling as a telemarketer more. And I started thinking, if I know the most about the product, I'll be able to sell it the most. No! That's not why they buy. They buy because of the story. Okay? So that is the most powerful asset I can teach you guys to create inside of this challenge. And it's the biggest thing I want you guys to go learn. Learn to tell the story. Now, what I want you to go do is, yesterday we talked about the Epiphany Bridge script. And if you were watching or listening to what I was doing, you hear everything that I'm doing in there, right? And then what that does is it creates value. Value is one of the easiest things to create, right? When you learn the levers of it. It created value and opened up a gap for me to go, it was this book. And because of the value I created and pre-framed ahead of time, the moment I lifted this up, you're like, I have to have it, right? And I have sold hundreds of copies of this guy's book because people go buy it immediately before someone asks, like, will you refund us? Absolutely not. Okay, mount that thing on your shelf and realize what causes sales to happen. No, right? You wait for that thing to show up and keep it as a moment, like use it to keep your momentum, right? And focus on what really happened. You put that right on your desk, right there, and just keep it there. Okay. Anyway. So the whole purpose of today is to teach you guys what your origin story is. Okay. And I started going through that and asking you guys what that is yesterday. The origin story is nothing more than how did you originally, your origin story, how did you originally get started in the thing that you're doing? Now, a lot of people get confused and think that there's a difference between the Epiphany Bridge script. Okay, the Epiphany Bridge script versus the origin story script. There's no difference, right? We use the Epiphany Bridge script for every story. Okay, so it's the same script that I use for my podcast episodes. It's the same script I use for little mini sales stories, like the one I just told you. It's the same script I use for, it's the same thing, right? The Epiphany Bridge script is the script I use for the origin story, for my podcast stuff, it's for everything. There's no difference. It's not like an origin story script and an Epiphany Bridge script. Okay, all you're doing is telling the story of how you started in the thing that you're doing. That's it. But you're using the Epiphany Bridge script to do it. Okay, remember when we were talking yesterday about, right? How there is the hero's 2 journeys. And you're going to go through and tell the story of how you, because you're over here, right? You're over here as the expert in whatever it is that you guys do. Whether it's e-com, whether it's B2B, whether it's retail, whether it's info product, you're a coach, consultant. You're over here, especially your customer's perspective, you're over here. Okay, they're over here though, and what you need to go do back and do is tell the story of how you originally, your origin story, started on this path. Okay, go learn what that is. This chunk right here. Why did you think it was logical? Why did you think it was rational? Why did you think it was a good idea to start on this path over here? Now you ended over here. That's not as attractive. That's not as needful. That's not as helpful to somebody who's beginning this game as them hearing this story. They need to know why you started so that they start. Okay, so that's it. That's what we want you to learn today. I want you to go learn what your origin story is, and all I wanted to give you guys was a lesson in experiencing an Epiphany Bridge script. So I told a completely made up story. Okay, but it naturally led to the offer. And it naturally set up the offer. They have to be tied. You can't tell a random story. You can't tell a story and then sell something completely unrelated. Okay, there needs to be ties in there. So it takes a little bit of time the first time you think about this or create it on your own. But start thinking about your true. Okay, tell a true story. Okay, tell your true origin story, and then how it ties into and how it can relate to what you sell. And it's one of the easiest ways to cause cash. It's one of the easiest ways to cause success for you. Makes sense? Hopefully it makes sense to you guys on all this stuff. So anyway, that's called the fake book story. All right, I go through, I tell the story, I use elements that you've experienced in the story. People asking me, is this the one that's going to work? How many of you have been asked that question? Probably a lot of you. I've been asked that. Right? It's a very natural thing for your loved ones to ask you when you're like, when it's been a while that when you haven't had any success yet. Can you blame them? I can't blame them. It's fine, right? But how many guys have had that question asked to you? A lot. How many guys have been asked the question, how much more money are you going to waste, right? How do you know it's going to work? Is this actually going to sell, right? Those suck. Because I know you've been through that, that's why I take elements through that. So when you know what market you're selling into and you know the dream customer you're trying to get in that market, and you start actually really learning their past experiences, take those elements of the story and see if there's real, honest things from your history, right, that you can pull out that relates. And then when they hear it, they're like, man, I know. And I'm like, yeah, then we had to have a dollar menu date. And you're like, I've had to have a dollar menu date. Right? People asking me, I'm walking down the street starting to beat myself up. I've walked down the street starting to beat myself up. And then suddenly I see this guy who's looking like he's made it, and I can't figure out why he's made it and I haven't made it yet. I've looked at people who are successful and wondered why they're doing it and I'm not. That's why it works. That's why it works. So think through your origin story, and then the next piece is to just go start grabbing elements that your dream customer has experienced and see what relates, and you can go, right? When someone asks me like, well, Stephen, if you're using the Epiphany Bridge script, like, it feels like I'm lying. I was like, is everything you're telling in the story true? He's like, yeah, but like following the script, I feel like, you understand, like, it's the way I tell the story is what makes it effective. Most of the time, the way you guys tell stories, if it was this one, yeah, I didn't know how to make it work, and it was really rough, and this guy gave me a book, and I started reading the book, and it really helped me. And that's how you tell your story versus how I told it. No, right? The way you tell it is what makes it so effective as well. So anyway, hopefully it's been a helpful lesson to you today. I believe it is one of those powerful lessons I can give you in the entire challenge. Building a funnel, not hard, right? It's freaking drag and drop and you click save. If you can use Facebook, you can build a funnel. The reason they make it, or the reason they don't, is all about the message and the offer. Okay, and so today I'm hoping that you have learned, like, and at least experienced, like, you know, that feeling of anticipation. I held up the book, and the feeling is like, I have to have that book. I have got. Oh my gosh! The reason you're not making a lot of sales, if you're not, is because you're not creating that feeling. When you hold up your product, if they're not like, I don't even know what that is first, but I have to have it. That feeling of desire. You got to learn how to create that. And it has to do with the way you tell the story. Please be ethical. Please be moral. There's enough garbage in this industry, in any industry. Okay. But especially on the internet, there's enough garbage and fake people out there. Don't do that. Okay. It's to illustrate a point, because I've never read this book. Okay. But I can still sell it. Okay. You understand, like, if you understand the mechanisms that cause sales, how many of you guys have heard the notion that in order to sell something, you need to believe it, you need to use it, you need to be the biggest believer of that thing. How many of you guys have ever heard that? Okay, that's true, right? It helps. But if you know why sales happens, you can sell crap that you have never seen, okay? Because it has nothing to do with the product. All right. I'm not telling you to go do that. It's just to illustrate the point and the purpose of this whole thing. So anyways, guys, hopefully it's been helpful to you. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the lesson today and taken some powerful lessons from the whole thing. Because that frankly, if you get nothing else from this challenge, the next time you go start making a product, instead of you sitting around going like, man, we got to add this in the product. We got to add this in the product. We got to add this in the product. Guys, a sales message, all it does is create a promise. All an offer does is fulfill on the promise that the sales message made. That's it. Okay? Where the sale happens is during the new promise of the sales message. The offer is just the thing that fulfills on it. The offer is not why they buy. It needs to be good. I'm not telling you to make crappy offers, and I'm not giving you room in order to do that. What I'm telling you to go do is I'm telling you to make a sweet, sexy offer that over-delivers to the hilt and is amazing. But if you can couple that with a story that's powerful, you sell anything, right? It's very powerful. Anyways, guys, we'll see you later. If you guys like today's lesson, please let me know. If it made you mad, that's okay, right? Feel free. You have license to experience any emotion, right? But just know that it was for a point. It's not to piss anyone off, but like, you know, I've learned unless I do something like this to shake people, at the end of the challenge, they're still like, well, I can see how it would work for those that are selling info products. No! Get rich.